Have you ever wondered why sometimes life has you going around in circles and you haven't figured out your purpose or which path you should go? Ever get tired of dating the same type of people and you feel like you're wasting your time? Or you have been dating forever and still waiting on wedding bells? What about being married, but you may still feel lonely, or you are constantly arguing with your spouse? There was once a time you were all inseparable and couldn't keep your hands off each other and so in love, but now you barely talk. Life can sometimes get in the way, and before you know it, you barely have time for yourself. You are raising kids, always tired, and then they grow up and you don't know what to do with yourself. Ourbond is the solution for you. It's a 30, 60, and 90-day challenge created by experts in categories of singleness, dating, marriage, and parenting. These challenges were developed based on both the male and female perspective. You will receive daily tips, lessons, and encouragement to grow into the person you seek to become. Each day is tailored specifically for your journey in life. Put yourself first and take this challenge to begin your journey. You will experience growth and will evolve within 90 days. All you have to do is take the first step in this path, waiting just for you.
Good evening.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
How y'all doing? How are y'all doing tonight?
We're back.
We are back. We are back. I'm Ebony, and this is Oshi.
Oshabar.
We're the Hartmans.
Yes, we are.
And we are here most Tuesdays. We're going to try to get back to doing it every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Please share.
Please share,
like,
hearts,
and share.
all of that.
We've got a lot of good information tonight. We're going to be talking about some interesting things.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. So, like I said, here every Tuesday for the most part. You can watch us on Facebook Live, YouTube,
and Periscope.
We started maybe about 5 minutes late today because we're just having some technical issues.
Difficulties.
Yes. But We're back. So if you don't know who we are, we have been married. Next week will be 16 years.
16 years on Monday.
16 years on Monday. We have 4 beautiful girls.
Yeah.
And we only knew each other 2 months before we married.
Yes.
And so we like to come on and just share with you from our heart and kind of just connect it to what you're going through and what's going on in the world around you.
And it's just our way of putting our spin on things. As we say, we hardmonize it.
Right.
So we share our thoughts and our opinions on different issues, different topics that are relevant and pertinent to where we are.
Right.
So
what's the topic tonight?
The topic tonight, what is the topic tonight? Do we really know each other?
Do we really know each other? First of all, I want to say thank y'all for y'all prayers.
Yeah, most definitely.
Some of y'all that don't know, I tested positive for COVID-19.
Mm-hmm.
We had to quarantine for about 29 days.
Yeah.
I retested and I'm negative. I'm symptom free, doing well. And yes. He tested negative.
Yeah.
And the family's doing well. The girls are fine. They quarantined. We're all doing well. And I went back working with some COVID patients this past Mother's Day weekend.
Yes, she did.
So,
brave heart.
Yeah. So thank
Warrior.
you. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your prayers.
Yeah.
And so we're going to get into the topic tonight. So we all know what we're going through. Everyone is... in this world, everyone that's in this world right now is experiencing this pandemic that we're in, and that's the coronavirus, COVID-19.
Yes, COVID-19. We're all dealing with it.
So with that said, people are finding more things about themselves. Personally, you're finding some things about yourself.
Yeah.
And then you're finding some things about your spouse.
Yes.
Or your significant other.
Your children.
Your family members.
Yeah.
So hence, this is the topic tonight. Do we really know each other?
Mm-hmm.
Because y'all think about it.
Yeah.
The world kind of stopped, right?
Yeah.
It slowed down.
A whole lot.
The busyness that we're used to doing slowed down.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're busy, when you focus on something, you just focus on that. You kind of, how a person can get into a routine of something. You can get into a routine of being like very busy.
Yeah.
And so you kind of things that you should be focusing on kind of fall by the wayside, or things that you should be addressing.
You don't fully address.
You don't fully address because you're busy, right?
So busy till your busyness has caused you to lose your attentiveness to your surroundings, your significant other, your children, and all of these things. So with that, now we're in a place of where we have to slow down and kind of really see where things are. Mm-hmm. You really get to see your spouse in a different light. Not the spouse that is busy with the kids and all of that. Although we, in our case, our children are still doing homeschooling. And so there's so many variables that are there, but all of us are at home. We both are at home all the time, pretty much. And so with that, we have an opportunity to engage each other in a way that we haven't been able to engage each other, excuse me,
You okay?
Previously. So
you know what y'all heard? He said we're at home all the time.
All
Did y'all
the time.
hear how he dragged that one out? All the time. So let's tell them about when we started. We started it was that weekend after, maybe like the third weekend in March.
Yeah, March 13th was when it officially.
Okay, so that third week in March is when we started the at home and the homeschooling.
Yeah.
So we kind of try to stay in the routine, in the same routine.
Yeah.
So we're always in. Then that routine is called the always busy
Busy.
routine.
Yeah.
So when he's at work 9 to 5, I don't really bother him.
Yeah.
I only just text him when I need him for something. You know. So he will go into his office in the basement.
Yeah.
From 9 to 5. Okay. Now upstairs, typically if I work from home, I'm upstairs and I'm doing my work on the computer, but then I had 4 kids. So, and there's 4 kids that I'm having to help homeschool, and I'm doing my work, but then he's downstairs.
Yeah.
In the basement. And then sometimes, if it's like the typical, he's like 7 to 4, he sometimes wouldn't come up to like
5:30, 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. So y'all know, if you're gonna keep doing this and this pandemic's going on and stuff like that, I was starting to get irritated. I'm like, wait a minute.
He was at home all day and we really didn't talk to each other.
We didn't talk to each other. I felt he didn't help me with the with the kids.
Yeah,
and
she right.
And I was getting so upset. Like, wait a minute, we home together. We gotta switch up. We gotta change our routine, to where we're working together as a family,
as a family,
now as a unit. Now I had a COVID schedule. For the girls, you know, when to get up and start your work, when to go outside and do stuff, when you have free time, all that stuff. I had that, but you got 4 kids. Everybody ain't listening at the same time. Then, you know, they need help with their work and stuff like that. So there was a lot of tension.
Yeah, there was. There was a lot of tension. And you know what? In that time of tension, because we were trying to keep things as normal as possible, trying to keep our schedules separate, trying to make sure that we're handling our business. And even in that, you know, there's been a study that say when you have been working in the office and then when you go home and you start working from home, you can actually spend more time working when you go home, because you're trying to justify the time that you're at home and trying to make sure that you're not, quote unquote, you know, skipping or playing hooky on the job. And so that's what I noticed. I was working more. And that time that I was working more, I was getting a lot accomplished. However, I did not maximize, or I didn't take advantage of the environment that I was in. And so I got my sweetheart right upstairs, you know, and we didn't even really interact. Like, maybe it took about 2 weeks?
About 2.5 weeks of frustration.
Yeah. 2.5 weeks of frustration. So about the middle, right before Easter, that's when we got it. So
let me tell you now how frustration is.
Or should I say I got
it? What frustration is with me is I don't nag. Now, early on in our marriage, I used to nag, but I found out early in the marriage that nagging just doesn't work.
It doesn't.
It
pushes your spouse away.
Oh yeah, so I fall back. So my thing was I was just quiet. Yeah. I was quiet. Quiet.
So the scenario would look like this. I would come up around maybe 5:30, 6 o'clock. When I come up 5:30, 6 o'clock, we really hadn't talked to each other. So I would come up 5 or 6 o'clock, and then I would come in the bedroom and I'd be like, "Hey, babe," and she'll just be like, "Hey." That's how she does it. Or she'll call me by my whole name. Hey, Oshabar.
Hi, Oshabar.
And whenever that happens, I already know what's up. Something is up. She got a little attitude. It's just I'm like, okay, what? Now I was just downstairs working.
You're thinking, I ain't do nothing. I ain't do nothing. But he did a lot. He did a lot. I'm frustrated because them kids not listening. Okay. They're not listening to me. And then I think at that time, too, during that 2 week I had already been exposed to COVID.
Yeah.
So my body is starting to change.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I'm feeling alone.
Yeah.
I'm in a house. It's 6 of us. I'm in a house full of people, but I felt alone and overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Overwhelmed. And then he gonna come up. Been missing all day. Hey, baby.
what's going on? How you feeling? And she was like, how you feeling? And just be having to turn on the TV and just be watching whatever she was watching. And like I didn't even exist. And I'm like, hold on now. I'm working hard. I'm working 9 to 5 downstairs trying to make sure I take care of this family financially from a standpoint. Now, she still works and she does her thing too. So
and food would be ready so the days that I cook.
Yeah.
The food would be ready.
And so in that, I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm coming upstairs to really enjoy the rest of the evening with my wife. But what happened was we did not continue to have some level of dialogue throughout the day that would have eased things so that when we came into the environment together, we could just really just continue to mesh. So by this time, my wife is going through her period of starting to deal with the COVID-19.
And I think that's what slowed us down.
Yeah.
That right there slowed us down and made us take a step back and realize what's important.
Yeah.
Like somebody else's situation could be, hey, the spouse lost a job.
Yeah.
Or the spouse or family member got sick.
Mm-hmm.
In this situation, I got sick. So he moved his office upstairs to the bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
Because now he didn't want to be away from me.
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you, that did something for me. Like, my husband, I call him, he is a big teddy bear, but I've seen the grizzly come out of him over these 16 years before, right? So I know that he'll protect me. I know if someone was trying to attack me or whatever, like he's right there. It could be verbally, physically, or whatever, he's right there. I didn't know in this situation, him kind of knowing that I had COVID, that he would even put himself at risk for a virus that kills just to make sure that I'm okay. Like, it made me kind of, it broke down my anger and my frustration. And I said, okay, this is a new normal. And I am so appreciative and so thankful for my husband. We got to work this thing out. Me being a little frustrated because he downstairs in the basement, you know, watching the news and stuff like that. There are other people whose spouses are in the hospital and they can't go see them.
Yeah.
So obviously we got to work this out. And then it didn't help either with me being frustrated and having those major headaches and stuff, some of the symptoms, and then just so tired. I just didn't feel like doing anything else, and he came in at the right time. And so it's like the question, what's our topic?
Do we really know each other?
Do we really know each other? And so I think this COVID experience, this pandemic, everyone's experience during that time, during this time, you're going to find out more information than you ever knew about a person.
And here's the funny thing. We communicate.
Yeah, we do.
So we're pretty good in our communication. So that's really not a problem in our relationship. However, you can never stop communicating, or you can never get enough of communication. Communication is the lifeblood of a relationship. So it keeps the relationship flowing. And so with that, when we begin to be in the room with each other, we both had our little section with our little desk and everything. Thank God for a big master bedroom where we could kind of like set things up, and she was on one side, I was on another side, but we could have dialogue and converse with each other throughout the day, even with situations that with our job or just whatever, you know. It gave us an opportunity to continue to have dialogue with each other consistently throughout the day. So when we got ready to now shut our laptops down and then enjoy the rest of the evening, we had now that bond that was already there. We were already close. We were already in connection with each other. So everything else from that, we could just flow.
And another thing too, I compare life as a huge dance. right?
Yeah.
You know, when you go out dancing, you do not do the same dance all night.
No.
You can't, because ain't nobody going to ask you to dance. You do
Yeah.
that same dance
Two
all
step,
night.
all
Two-step
night.
just all night, right? So you got to dance differently. You got to do
Yeah.
some different moves.
Yeah.
And so, like, even when you're driving a car, you got to turn off the street. You got to
Yeah.
turn. So in marriage, I think this period that we're going to, we have to dance differently
Yeah.
now going forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we're appreciating. I mean, we're looking at more of Mother Nature. We're spending more time with the kids.
Yeah.
And discussing hot topics with them and feelings.
Yeah.
And just had scenarios like discussing. So this taught us to move differently.
You know what? And I'll say this. You shared this analogy of when you go and you're dancing. Also, you got to know your partner, and your partner got to know how you to move together.
That's true.
And so when you are in a relationship and partnership, and you're moving, one person moves. You also got to be able to be flexible to flow with the other person, and cover and really have that level of balance and be able to cover each other in the midst of whatever transition that both partners are going through. In that case, she was dealing with a major issue, COVID-19. So now I have to be more adaptable to address her in a way that will let her know that I care, I love her, and I'm willing to now sacrifice whatever I need to sacrifice so that she can feel that I am there to protect her. And one of the things I've learned, even from, being doing biblical counseling in seminary and stuff like that, there are two aspects of importance, of significance. And so in my wife's case, she needs to feel secure in order to be significant. Mm-hmm. I need to be significant in order to be secure. So in other words, I had to show her that she was taken care of, so to give her that level of security so that she can feel significant from me as a husband. On my instance, I'm actually fulfilling my significance because I'm doing what I need to do in order to be significant for her, which makes me secure. So by me fulfilling my role and my responsibility, taking care of her and showing her that I'm there for her, that gives me my level of security.
Mm-hmm. That's
you
good.
know. And so I think we were able to learn each other, and not that we didn't learn that before then, but I think it brought it out even more. Yeah,
it's more in depth.
Yeah.
It's amazing how it don't matter how long you've been married, you still can uncover some of the
layers.
some of the many layers of your spouse, because life is different. Like, for instance, everyone is not going to move the same way. That's why what you said was so significant about you having to be in sync with your partner. Mm-hmm. Because when you're dancing and a partner's dancing, y'all have to be in rhythm with each other.
Yeah.
But it took through this. Ours was like 2.5 weeks before we got it because I got sick. I don't know how longer it would have taken if I didn't get sick. I don't know if we would still be doing that same dance that we always do. But you got to also think too, this pandemic could be traumatizing for someone. Yeah. So if your partner is going through, let's say your partner lost their job or had a reduction of hours, and they are used to providing, for the family, and then that's not happening now. You can't expect them to quickly start moving to a different dance. Yeah. You don't know how that affects them.
Yeah. There would need to be some time of adjustment. And some space a little bit.
So throw them away.
And I want us to, as we're going through this, please share, please comment.
Share.
Because also share some of your comments on what you've learned during this time, and what what have you taken from this experience, even as it relates to relationships, whether it's your, your spouse, or it could be a significant other that you were in a relationship with. And what have you learned during this time that has basically opened your eyes and give you a level of revelation on yourself or even on your significant other?
And during this time too,
Yeah.
you can see if you are in a relationship, you can see if they're the right one for you.
Yeah.
Like if they know you at the house and you don't have any food, will they go to the grocery store for you?
Yeah.
Will they do those little things to still take care of you while you're going through this?
Yeah.
You know, there's been studies that there have been a lot of breakups during this time.
Yeah.
There's been unfortunately some domestic abuse during this time.
Yeah. Domestic violence has gone up.
Yes, it has gone up. And mental. I mean, I had to get out the house a couple of days. I was like, I just gotta walk. I just gotta get out.
Yeah.
So anxiety has increased. So
mental anguish. Just the feeling of, number one, feeling trapped. Number two, just not knowing what tomorrow is going to hold. If you're going to go to your job and your job is going to say, hey, we gotta have some budget cuts, and you might not make that budget cut.
Right. Or do I have enough food?
Do I have enough food?
Yeah.
So all of these are variables that play a role in your mental state. And so with that, we all, as husbands and wives, significant others, we have to really take into consideration, the feelings of our partner, the feelings of our spouse, and just even dealing with now, even with my wife, she would be at home the majority of the day because our girls would be at school. I would be at work. So she was at home, pretty much by herself. Now she's dropped the girls off at school, picked the girls up from school and stuff like that. So her time was a little bit shorter than mine was, because I had a longer period. I would go in early and I would come home later. So, but now everybody's here. What does that do to change the dynamic of what she was experiencing when she used to have at least 4 to 5 hours of just being at home by herself, uninterrupted? Now, every 15 minutes or every 5 minutes or every 2 minutes, somebody's knocking at the door. And with 4 girls, the knocking is constant. So, and there's always a fire to put out, because when you got 4 growing girls that are always doing everything, they can constantly be in they can have some little fights with each other. It just happens. Siblings are siblings. So all of that plays a role in the dynamic of addressing how do we know each other, how can we learn each other throughout this time. We've seen even others who said, I'm learning my spouse. I'm really got to reintroduce myself to my spouse, and I really got to learn the nuances. And since we all evolve, sometimes we don't always get the download of the evolution that your partner or your spouse is experiencing at that time, until you're actually forced to be able to address it right then and there. Otherwise, you'll go through the evolution and that person will be changing and you'll be changing, and y'all are totally going in separate directions, not knowing each other have had some major instrumental moments of change in their lives, and now that change has to be addressed or has to be met head on when you're in an environment that is now closed off, and you got to now
it forces you to address it. I mean, marriage is not for the weak. It's for
not
the
for the faint of heart. Not for the wimps. You got to be strong when it comes to marriage, because all of these changes or variables that are in all of our lives have something to do with how we're able to navigate this journey of a relationship throughout the period of time. If you want to be able to last 20, 30, 40, 50. We got a goal that we're going to be married at least 75 years.
75
So
years.
in our hundreds, we still going to be all together. So what does that mean?
So, and also too, it forced us to have some discussions, like some financial discussions.
Yeah.
Because remember, we were just too busy.
There we go.
We were just too busy. And then too, we're like, okay, Fridays, Saturday, date nights. We might go this weekend or not, because if something comes up, we got to do this, got to do that, or whatever. Shift. Oh my God, I ain't putting nothing above spending time with him ever again. Ever again. I'm when he want to do something, we doing it. Period. That's just how it is. And then on top of that too, with like I was saying, with the finances. We actually had the time to map out
some
plan,
goals, some plans that we want to do.
At least for like 10, 20 years.
We've talked about goals and plans, and we've kind of did some things separately of what we wanted to accomplish, which is understandable, but there should always be a moment where you come back together and you try to resynchronize your plan to make sure, and then put the plan in action.
We got a date and all that stuff.
So this has definitely been, revolutionary for both of us. Right. From a financial standpoint, we had goals, but now we took those goals to another level. Right. And now we know that this is something that we're going to do for both of us to try to accomplish and maximize, and then decrease the amount of time that we were going to do it in. So that there's a blessing that and I'm just seeing the blessing all around this whole experience. I know everybody is not, may have some struggles and may have some hardships during this time, and we don't want to just gloss over the fact that is a part of the life that we're living in and the period that we're in this season. However, in the midst of that, I believe that you can still grow and learn from every season that you're in.
Right.
The spring, the winter, summer, and fall. Whatever season that you're in, whether it's in this time of being in a pandemic, or just when you come out, what's going to be the takeaway that you come out with that's going to give you force and thrive and momentum to move forward. So,
right. And so, one of the things though too, we've had a lot of cost savings during this time. Y'all, during this time, it will show you that you don't really have to spend as much as you think you do on things.
Some of the things are really not necessities.
They're not necessity. Focus on the things that your family needs and stack the rest. Just save. You don't have to spend. And then too, if you think this, and even like if some of you are getting unemployment and all that, don't use all of it. Really to get your essentials, get the items that you and your family need. And save.
Use it as seed money to invest in something that you want to do.
Invest. I'm always on that Robinhood app. That's a plug. But like in invest, but you want liquid. And I was saying save liquidity. You want your liquid assets. It's good to still have that cushion in the bank or at home in the box, however you get down. But it's good to have that. It's however you get down. It's in good to have it. It's too much putting the Brazil. You gotta okay. In the safe, it's good to have it. Like, share. I just wanted to mention that. You have any?
I think and this time is totally unprecedented. I mean, that word has probably been used more than it should be used right now.
Yeah.
But this whole period of time has been something that has been totally unexpected, and so trying to navigate an unexpected place or a place of mystery is scary at times because you don't know all of the nuances of how things are taking place and how shape, and there are people in government that will directly affect what's going to happen coming out of this. So the only control that you have over this situation and knowing your spouse is, hey, we got to clean together however we can clean together. United front. We got to clean together however we need to clean together so that we can have a plan for our future, because I don't want to be dictated to on what's going to happen to me as a result of what we're going through, when I have the ability and the capacity to chart my own course. Chart my own course. And I want to be able to chart my own course because that puts me in control, but it also puts the responsibility on me to make sure that I'm doing everything necessary to that when I do come out of this, I'll be in a better position than when I came in.
You said the good point. You will come when you do come out of this. You will come out of this. This thing. Now, from my medical opinion, we're going to be in this place for a while.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not gonna die in the summer, y'all.
Yeah.
And then these states are reopening earlier than recommended, and we're going to see a spike in cases. There are going to be some more layoffs. This thing is not going away for a while.
Yeah.
So you got to get your mind right. You got to and write it out. This country has gotten through worse, and then this country has gotten through something similar 100 years ago, right?
Yeah, Spanish.
So you really have to know the plan for beyond this. Okay, just don't get stuck in this. And then the best thing when you're in a relationship. The best thing is to ride it out together. And y'all figure this thing out together, and you come out better.
Yeah.
You shouldn't come out worse than how you came in. Because there's a lot of time for self-reflection. There's a lot of time for to work your relationship out, to work relationships out with your children, with your family members. Even if you can't go see them, you can call them or just stand on the front porch. You can't go in. There is time for mending, fixing, mending, building, all of those.
Reconstruction.
Remodeling, all that. This is the time. Yeah. This is the time. And God was speaking. When this thing hit, I said, "Oh Lord, what you doing? What you doing? I see you have allowed this. Not to say He brought COVID.
No.
But He allowed for this to happen for a reason.
Yeah.
And so everyone should be better. Yes. I think this should draw more people to Him, so that they can use God for guidance for their life. Because that's the only way I believe you can make it through.
Yeah, some of the shallow and superficial things that we put emphasis on before going into this has totally been washed away. Some of the things that we thought was important really are not that important when it comes to what is the main thing that's going to keep me after this is over. My family, is going to keep me. I got to be here for this lady right here, because this lady right here is my heart, man. And my 4 daughters, and I think about them because they're going through a different experience. We didn't even talk about them. The experience that they're dealing with, not being able to be in a classroom setting for months. Not just, there's a difference between getting out of school for the summer and then going through this period of time of having to deal with classes, can't be in an interaction with teacher and got to get your work and not having as much socialism with your other classmates. So all of this has definitely hit our daughters too, from a different perspective. They were like, man, we can't wait to get back to school. We want to go back to school. I mean, and this is something that they're longing for. And then not even addressing the issue of families who don't have the wherewithal, that are dealing with that. And some of the children, their only meals, 2 meals a day, was breakfast and lunch at school, and now they have to grapple with the fact that I don't have breakfast, I don't have lunch, so how am I eat throughout the day? And for schools and school systems to be able to address those issues from that standpoint has definitely been a blessing, to be able to give meals, and churches and others being able to share some of the resources that they have to really help feed those who are in need during this time. So there are so many things that sometimes we don't even address. I mean,
and some children go to school to get away from
the foolishness that takes place in the home,
from family abuse.
And their only place of solace, or their only place of sanctuary, is when they do go to school and when they're with their friends, and they have an opportunity to get out of that mess or dysfunctionality that they were in, and now they come to a place where they can feel like they can fit into another. They can have an alternative life, from the life that they have at their home. So when you start thinking about all of this, this has been major, and I think when we really begin to know our spouse and to know our family, it really makes a difference in really taking the time that we need to take to make it happen. You have to make it happen. So how are you going to do it?
Right.
Yeah, there's pressure there. There's inward and outward pressure. We deal with anxiety, stress, depression, or all of those things are part of this process. However, we have each other to really lean on each other and to grow. And that's going to help us. That's going to help us,
Right. And just in the talk about with the children, what time is it? Do we have enough?
Yeah, we good. We good on the time.
Okay, what time is it?
7:48.
Okay. So, just to talk about children too, they're anxious. They want to get out. So I know sometimes if I have to run an errand, like today, I had to get a second round of antibody testing, and so I had the girls to go with me. But they didn't go inside the building, but there was this nice little park thing right outside the door where they could just sit. It was just them, not near anyone. But the fact that they were walking on a college campus, and I made it, just showing them stuff like the School of Business, the nursing school, that just doing a small little adventure. They could have been at home, but no, mommy got to run an errand or whatever, but they wanted to go so bad.
Yeah.
So it was just something that small and simple. I was only in there for maybe 10 minutes, came back out. We walked back to the car. We had our mask on and everything like we're supposed to do the social distancing. And I got them something to eat at Chick-fil-A through the drive-thru, and they were just so happy. They were able to spend that time with me. Outside of the house. Sometimes we might go walking, but just the conversations that just have started to develop. And I've always been an active parent. I always talk to them, but it's just amazing how you feel like you're not talking enough. There's always another layer to them as well. Yeah. Not just with marriage, but there's other layers to your children. And then they start to open up more about the frustrations that they're having. So.
Yeah, and how can I explain this? I mean, with everything that's going on, and because of the conversations that we were able to have, not only with ourselves but with our children, for them to see, and I'm gonna go a little bit off the beaten path of what we're talking about, but addressing just society and what's happened, even with this Ahmaud Arbery and all of that. And we've had an opportunity to just sit down and talk
about it,
and express to them the injustices that we face, and how important it is to know how to address it and deal with it in a way that's going to, number one, stimulate them intellectually so that they can really think about how this directly affects their lives, and then think about it from a cultural standpoint, and then also think about how does that affect, something, and just them being honest. They don't want me to go out sometimes.
Yeah.
Just about what has happened, and even over the history, they're fearful if I go out, and it's dark.
Right.
Or anything, and so all of that plays a role, but we have to be able to address and talk about these issues, because these are the times that we're able to share with each other in such a way that we can build them, they can build us, we can share our insights, our experiences with them, to give them a level of foundation in order to stand on, so that when they're making the decisions, we have the ability to shape their lives by, the lifestyle that we live. And we can see how that can directly affect in so many ways, and
especially now we have time.
Yeah,
right?
We have more and more time. Make the most of this time. Utilize this time in such a way that is going to be impactful, that's going to leave such an impression not only on your life, and then if there are some things that you wanted to do that you didn't have time to do, now you got the time to do it. You may have the time to do it, and you may have the time to write that book, or you may have the time to create that business plan, or come up with the next great big idea. That could be the very thing that this time has afforded you to be able to start addressing some issues that you've always wanted to accomplish, you always wanted to do. I told the church on Sunday. She don't know, but when she go to sleep, I go downstairs and I'll be taking some piano lessons, because I've always wanted to play piano. I know you
used to do that. You back to doing that
now
again.
I'm going downstairs, because that has always been a passion of mine. I love music so much, and so I'm just going downstairs,
awesome,
and I'm doing some lessons, because this gives me the opportunity to do so.
I did see that on your computer. That's why I was like, why he got this on? Ladies, we can when some don't look right. I'm like, why he got that piano? But it was just piano, so I ain't really think nothing of it. I was like, okay, X. I think I closed that screen.
Yeah.
I think I did. I was like, okay, what is this?
That's my computer, okay?
Yeah, it is. But I was thinking, well, maybe the girls are on it or something like that.
But this was my opportunity to do some of that, and so I really I have a passion.
You be on me all night.
I really have a passion. I do be on you until you go to sleep, and then when you go to sleep, you ain't no good to me. Then.
Stupid.
But I'm just saying, I mean, hey, I done got all the use out of you, so I might as well just go downstairs and, burn off a little more energy.
Oh, Lord. Burn off a little bit more energy.
Stimulate my mind a little more. They say those who are musicians, they have a level of capacity that, anyway. But
at any rate, I think you make a good point, though.
Yes.
Yeah. So
do whatever you can do.
Define. Yeah.
Do whatever you can do to, build that, grow yourself or challenge yourself, or whatever you can to, help yourself out in that moment. Because that's what we need to do. We need to grow from this. We need to grow from this, grow through it as we go through it.
So, do we really know each other?
Yeah. Have you learned anything about your spouse?
I've learned a lot. And I think how I can answer that question is I didn't know that there's so much more to learn about myself.
Yeah.
And also him. Mm-hmm. Because every situation will force you to learn more about yourself as well.
Yeah. You know what I like to even see how she interacts on different calls that she gets with coworkers and those who she's managing. I like to see how she interacts. So, I get to see that side of her a
That's
lot.
right, because you wouldn't know.
Because I wouldn't know, because we're in two different places. So when she has, conference calls, or when she's meeting with some of her team members or those who she's managing, I get to see her way of operating that I would not have would have been able to see had I still, been in this. So I've learned even some of her management style and how she
I didn't know you was
delegates.
listening.
Listen, hey, it is our responsibility as husbands to make sure that we are attentive, we are alert, we learn, and we know our spouse, and we even know some of the intricate details of how they operate. Because if we don't, somebody else gonna pay attention, and I'll be doggone if I let anybody else pay more attention to you than I do.
I know that's right, baby.
What? Okay, all right. Yeah, I think I got a little extra happy at this particular point in time. That's why she can't keep her hands off me.
I know that's right. But that's good to know. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were listening, because you'd be all in the zone doing your. But you know what? I listen to some of how you talk to those engineers. And I'd be like, my baby's so smart. Like I'm like, he knows a lot. And I didn't know. I'm not an engineer, so I mean, when he's preaching and stuff, I know the word. So I like to see how he's going to dissect it and all that stuff. But engineering, when he's doing his engineering job, it's just so fascinating to me. It's like another language to me. Like, what are they talking about? So just to hear that side of you, it's so attractive.
All right, we're going to leave here in a little bit, okay? But anyway, guys, during this time, definitely make the most of the opportunity that you have to really know the person you're with. Learn them, there's a book called Crucial or Courageous Conversations. And these are conversations that need to be held to address some things and to really address whatever's on your heart, whatever you're feeling. Take that time to say, you know what, I'm dealing with this or I'm dealing with that, and how can I express this to my spouse or my significant other in a way that we can actually work together and we can move lockstep so that we can accomplish this. I
like that lockstep.
Yeah. I think sometimes when people don't know, your heart or your vision or what you're feeling, how can they actually help you to, especially if they care about you? Because, you got some people who just want to learn your vision so that they can sabotage it. But when you're talking about people who love you and they want to see the best out of you, when you share it in a way that they can actually now maneuver or push you or, trying to help you to cultivate what you need to be cultivated in to get to that next step, that next level. And so the more you're able to share with your spouse or your significant other in that way, that gives them even more motivation to push you or to cheer you on or to be, that person that's going to hold you accountable. Right. And that's where we all have to really look at. But yeah.
And I think during this time too, there is no excuse. If communication has always been your issue, and if you don't address this now, it's going to either it will make you or break you.
Yeah.
So if you aren't addressing issues, if you're not communicating them, if you always keep things in and you just never say it, and now God is giving you time.
Yeah, and you don't utilize
it and take advantage of it.
Yeah. You're
the blame.
Yep.
You're the blame. You can't blame anybody else but yourself.
Yeah.
And then too, you can communicate if you're in a relationship, and you can communicate really your thoughts and your true feelings. And if they're not receptive to it,
yeah, that might
be a sign.
Let you know.
That might be a sign.
That might be a sign.
That they're not the one.
They're not the person that you need to be with.
That they're not the one.
And we're talking about specifically significant others. We're not talking about spouses. You can
get through. They have the virtual conference. And then another thing too. There's another thing too. If you're a couple, couple or married, married couple going through issues, and y'all always say y'all gonna go to counseling, y'all gonna get the counseling stuff. They're offering them online now.
Yeah,
You don't have an excuse,
no excuse.
with I
No
can't
excuse.
I can't get off of work, or I have
Yeah.
something busy, or
Yeah.
I gotta do this. You have time now. So
Yeah.
again, that's a part of, if you're not addressing it, you don't want to change.
Yeah.
And then you the other person on the other end, you need to really look at that and see if you're trying, and you've been trying and now you're in this pandemic, and this is the time
Yeah.
to address things, and they're still not budging. That's a sign.
Yeah.
That's a major
Yeah.
sign. I
So-
just had to.
No, you good. So all in all, what we're trying to say as we close and sign off tonight is this time that we're in has been an opportunity that has been afforded to you to maximize it. Make the most of everything that you've gone through, to learn your spouse, to communicate with your spouse, build the relationship that you need to build. Because really, in the grand scheme of things, you're responsible. You can make the relationship what you choose to make it. If you already have a closed mind thinking that it's not going to work, or I can't talk to them, then guess what? You've already closed the door to the opportunity that could have been given to you had you just said, oh, instead of me closing the door, let me have an open mind for this situation. And now, how am I going to address it in a way that can help make whatever the situation is better? And so
That's a good summary.
get to know them, grow yourself, build yourself, come out of this whole experience with a whole newfound revelation that you're going to be better than what you were before you went into this before this pandemic happened. All right.
Good summary.
Know your spouse, love your spouse, and guess what? We love you guys.
Love
and
y'all.
thank you guys for being a part
For
of
tuning in.
Ourbondlive.
Yeah.
Next Tuesday, we'll see you next Tuesday. We love you guys.
Love you.
Peace.
Peace.